Okay, so let's talk about the business of t-shirts, right? What you need to get started, what you need to know to actually make money, because a lot of us get on here and we like, how to make 6 figures with t-shirts, and then you like, yay! And then you don't know about all the stuff like in the middle of that, and then you be like, oh man, and then you just stop. Okay, I don't want that, so I want to give you a breakdown of things you should do before you start, things you should do as you are running your t-shirt business, and things for longevity. Okay, and if you don't have a lot of resources right now, please listen up, because I didn't have no money when I started. Okay, not none, and I just had to do what I had to do. So I did a lot of things that did not benefit me later on, but I got started. But we're gonna get into all that. Before we do, my name is Crystal and I am the CEO of Girl Plus God. If you are interested in business content, you wanna know how to make some money, okay, change your life, this is the channel for you. So please make sure that you subscribe so that other people can see the content, okay? Because YouTube be playing around. YouTube plays. But yes, I'm grateful to be here. So thank you for subscribing in advance. Now let's jump into what we got to talk about. So number one, people always ask about LLCs and trademarks. Like, I hear those two things the most when it comes to what you need to like start a t-shirt business specifically. Okay. Number one, I did not start with any of that. I just got one night, was like, I'm doing this. I ain't got time. And technically, you don't need anything to start a t-shirt business, especially if you start on like a crowdfunding website like I did, like a Teespring or Spring or whatever. You can just get started. However, once you make over a certain amount of money, you're definitely going to have to pay some taxes on that. So you just definitely want to have a heads up that there will be a 1099 coming from a company once you hit a certain threshold, okay? However, like I said, I did not start with any of that, because when you put the focus on all of what you have to do, it stops you from actually getting started. And if you know me, or even if you don't, now you're gonna know, my whole concept of life is just about us starting. So Shut Up and Start Your T-Shirt Business was the perfect name for me, because I just started because I was in a position where I needed to make some money, and I also really wanted to encourage other women. And so it was a great concept for me, right? Like, t-shirts, people love them. My first t-shirt said, I shop, Jesus saves, okay? And I just kept going from there. I kept just creating until I then acquired Girl Plus God. And now I've kind of been doing that since then. But when I first started, I was just like, look, which it was where you might be right now. I just gotta make some money, okay? I would definitely build a community. I would figure out who I'm talking to, who I'm targeting, and then I would create for those people. And without you needing anything else, you can start on any type of like crowdfunding type of website, like a Teespring, all right? Then I would make sure to do research in your state, okay? This is not a one-size-fits-all procedure, because every state operates differently when it comes to business. I am in the state of Georgia, so getting an LLC was a fairly easy process for me. And my thing was, I wanted to make sure that I was going to stick it out long enough. And that's what I tell other people, like, before I go get an LLC, let me make sure that I'm actually going to stick with like this business. So I would say, make the money, don't let it make you. I would say, make your money and then take that money and go get your LLC. Again, depending on your state, is going to depend how much that costs. I want to say it's like $150 here in Georgia. And then they also have a way where you can like just register the name only, so you can like hold that name. But again, check with your state's like Secretary of State or any type of business website that your state has, to see what the fees are going to be for you, not only when you start it, but also every year, because you have to renew your LLC every single year. Your girl, Miss Mamas right here, I went opening 3 LLCs, okay? Instead of just doing something else that I could have done. Cause I ain't trying to confuse y'all right now, but I could have done something differently. So every year having to like renew those LLCs, that adds up. So make sure that you see how much it's going to cost in your specific state for an LLC. Also, if you are going to be doing and shipping and doing all that yourself, you also want to check with your state to see how much a reseller's permit is going to be. This also has a different name in different states, which is so funny how each state in business works. So just look for, it's going to say like reseller's permit or reseller something. The point of what I'm telling you to look for is what it's going to take for you to not be taxed when you go to buy wholesale products, right? Because then you're going to accept tax from your customers, and then you're going to pay taxes to your state. So you want to make sure that you look on your state government's website for LLC and for a reseller's permit. You also want to look to see what it's going to take as far as state tax, and you're also going to have to collect sales tax, which I know you're probably like, whoa. Okay, here's the thing though. This is only when you have gone through the process, and let's say you get an LLC, now you have an EIN from the government. So your EIN is your business social security number. That is free. Please do not pay anybody to do this for you. It is something you can do on the IRS website. Once you have an EIN, that's your social security number for your business, and so you will use that. And I don't think they ask, they might, Shopify might ask now for that as well, for your EIN and maybe for your LLC information. So once you get to that point where you are ready to like open up your own store with Shopify, then you do want to make sure that you have an EIN in place and that you also have your LLC information in place. All right. This is all inside of my t-shirt masterclass, by the way. I have a full business checklist as well as a brand checklist, because I know that it can seem like, oh my gosh, this is so much. But remember what I said in the beginning. You don't need any of this to get started immediately. However, you do want to make sure, like, there is a part of it where it's like you got to just leap and go so that you don't like mess yourself up. But then there's another part of it like, okay, but yeah, you are going to have to take care of the business. So I always suggest, like I said before, set a goal for yourself. And that could be like, okay, I'm going to sell on Etsy. I'm going to use Printful, or I'm going to get on a place like Teespring. None of these people are sponsoring, by the way. And I'm going to make $1,000. And once I make $1,000, I am going to use that to get my LLC. And I am going to also look into a trademark. Let's talk about that, because it probably is more than $1,000. Trademarks are also something that gets in a lot of people's way of like, I don't want to start because I don't want nobody to steal my brand. I gotta have a trademark. Oh my God. Listen to me. There is another video on this channel with my trademark attorney, Kiana, where she's talking about like why you should get trademarks. Yes, they are important. However, a trademark is not gonna stop nobody from stealing your brand, okay? Let me just tell you as a witness, I be seeing so much girl plus guy in places that I just be like, I used to send it to Kiana every time and be like, please. But now I just be like, child, I ain't spending my time chasing after people is not serving me. So just know, hear me, that getting a trademark does not stop somebody from stealing it. People are just in the business of taking what's working and then going off and doing their own thing, okay? However, yes, it does protect you, but it can take years for your trademark to go through, and it is very costly. So what I always say is, number one, please watch that video or look up the difference between trademarks and copyrights. if your shirt, for example, Girl Plus God is a trademark, but that is because that is the name of the business, and also that is the design on the t-shirt. You see how that works? It's a 2-for-1. But if, let's say, my shirt said Limitless, like this shirt I have on today, I'm not gonna go and trademark this. Number one, they probably wouldn't even let me do it. But you don't trademark designs on t-shirts. You actually get those copywritten. And when you get your shirt design from somebody, maybe on like Fiverr, or even if you do it yourself, you want to make sure that you have the copyright conversation. Does it come with this? Just to make sure that you're safe. But you're not looking to trademark your t-shirt designs unless it is something that you are going to keep. I use the example of Wait, Pray, Slay. That was a very popular t-shirt that I had. I was in the process of trademarking that. But then when I realized, going through all of the money I was spending, I'm like, this is trendy. This was just a cute t-shirt idea. Like, a copyright is cool. I don't need a trademark for that. Girl Plus God, a business I'll have forever, a business I love, the movement. Yes, I want to legally protect that. And yes, if it gets too crazy where somebody is doing something that is harmful to my brand at this point, I can go after them legally. Then that's when you spend the money to trademark, right? So I would set another goal for that. So if my $1,000 goal is my LLC, and whatever else you want to do with the first 1,000, maybe you get your virtual mailbox. After that, I would say I'm going to establish whether or not this is the business that I want to go ahead and get the trademark for, okay? So all in all, we have our LLCs, we have the difference between the copyrights, the trademarks. We also have our EIN, which, remember, is free. You can do it on the IRS website. Last thing I'm going to talk about, just so that this doesn't get too long, is going to be a business bank account. You cannot get a business bank account until you have your EIN and your LLC. However, I would definitely suggest, even from day one, if you're just going to jump on a place like Teespring or Printful and Etsy, places where you don't need your own store, please at least open a separate bank account or use a different bank account just to manage your money. Like, you don't want to be commingling money. You want to make sure that out the gate, even if you're not like completely established as this business, that you treat it that way, right? Like, you want to come out the gate like you're already $1 million business owner, and you don't want to be mixing the money. I made this mistake, just like, like I said, I just jumped out there. So I was like, I gotta just do what I gotta do. But then if you don't manage that, you're gonna spend that money, and then you're not gonna be able to reinvest back into your business or get your LLC or your trademark or anything else you want to get, because you're just over here spending the money. Okay? Also, speaking of money, know what it is that you're paying for versus what your profit is going to be. This is the part that I would say in your business, in all 3 stages of the business, starting while you're in it, like setting yourself up for success. Know how much it is that you're getting per sale, right? Know how much your product is going to cost down to the penny. T-shirts are a volume game, right? You either have to sell a whole lot of t-shirts in order to make a profit. And let's say your profit is $9. So that means every single time you pay for your product versus how much you sell it for. And then the remainder of that is your profit, right? You either have to sell a whole lot of t-shirts, or you have to have a very expensive t-shirt so that you don't have to sell that many, okay? And that's going into like premium markets, like a Fear of God or something like that. Designer brands where a Gucci can charge $500 for a t-shirt, right? If you don't have an established brand, it may be a little harder. Not impossible, but it may be a little harder. But if you're gonna sell your t-shirt for, let's say, the average of $25, you want to make sure that you can get as much profit out of that as you can. When you're using places like print on demand, you're not necessarily going to get a whole lot more profit, but you're not doing all of the work. so it kind of makes sense and adds up. Okay, just know that you want to know how much money you're going to make every single sale, and that will help you to then reach your goals of, when I get to my $1,000 threshold, when I get to my 2,000, when I get to my 5,000, right? That you know it's not just based on how much money you're making at the store total, but how much your actual profit is going to be. So hopefully that was helpful. I didn't want to give you way too much, but I wanted to get to the point where you knew what you needed to start literally today. My favorite part is the designs and stuff, which I always say I love that part, but this business stuff also got to be handled, and every state is different, so just make sure that you check in with your state first before you get started. But the point is for you to get started. Okay, stop putting it off. T-shirts ain't going nowhere. People love t-shirts, they still buying them, so please make sure that you do what you got to do to get your business started. All right, please make sure that you also comment, ask me your questions so we can get into it. Check out the t-shirt masterclass if you want to go a little bit deeper on your t-shirt journey and get started with me today, walking you step by step. And I will see you guys in the next video. That was so ugly.